Commissioner Elliott?
Here.
Commissioner Burns?
Here.
Commissioner Paula?
Here.
Commissioner Madrid?
Here.
Joyce Gates?
Here.
Jamal Williams?
Here.
Gilbert Salguero?
Here.
Lisa Spear?
Here.
Clyde Davis? Thomas Martin?
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Approval of the minutes of February the 28th, 2022. Any corrections, additions, or
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
all those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign? Okay, thank you. Discussion regarding ADA accessible playground and city parks. At city parks, Ben Salazar.
You should be able to hear me, I believe. Am I okay?
Yes, sir.
My voice carries. So, well, good afternoon.
Can we have,
I appreciate you folks letting me speak this afternoon. As some of you may know or may not know, I was a recent amputee in July of this year due to a diabetic virus. And what it's done more than anything, it's opened my eyes to the idea that when they talk about boundaries that are there for people that are handicapped and have disabilities, I'm going to be fortunate. I will be getting a prosthetic at the end of the year, at the end of the month, and so I will be able to get back up on my feet and get back to what I consider a normal life. But what I've discovered is that there are individuals that are going to be wheelchair bound for the rest of their lives, and part of the rehabilitation process in terms of what I've learned, and I've done some counseling on this, and I've been asked to speak about it, is that part of your rehabilitative process is your mental attitude in terms of how you get to live a normal life and how you get back to the process of, assimilating into the rest of the world. Well, what I've discovered, and unfortunately it took me being an amputee to get me to this point, I thought I was aware of the limitations that are placed on children and individuals that have boundaries placed upon them, and I've discovered that there's a whole world out there that basically limits the ability to get back to a normal life. And so a while back, I had discussed with Commissioner Madrid the possibility of why does Clovis not have wheelchair accessible swings at their playgrounds. And so this is something I had been advocating prior to being an amputee, but it has become more readily visible to me in the idea that every child should be able to live a normal life as best they can in terms of being accessible and try to have the same kind of life that a child has. So what I'm doing here today is I'm advocating that somehow or another, as a Parks and Board commission and group of people, that you seek ways to make sure that, and it's going to cost money. I understand that, there's cities' budgets and there's restrictions, but the idea of the fact is that, if you were to see a paraplegic child, which I have, and travel to go see them actually be able to wheel up on a swing and be able to do that, it's a whole different world for them. And so I'm here advocating on behalf of myself, who, even if I'm an amputee and I'll have my prosthetic, I'll still get on one of those swings just to try it out, just to know what it's like, just to experience it. And so I'm here advocating the fact that as a board, I would ask you to try to seek the funds, ask the city for funds. It is a cost process. You can spend anywhere from $1,200 on a set of swings up to $6,000, depending on how permanent you want them to be. I would recommend the permanent swings. I think it would be cost prohibitive initially to get them installed in all the facilities. But the two I would recommend is I would recommend Green Acres Park and Hillcrest Park as the first two parks to be looked at in terms of installing those swings. And again, I'm going to be fortunate. I'm blessed in the fact that God took care of me and somehow or another said, you're going to be to the point where you're going to be able to get a prosthetic and get back on your feet. But for those individuals that are not able to do that, I would ask that you seriously consider the fact that we join the modern world and join the ADA compliant world and really seriously look at installing wheelchair accessible swings at our city parks. So I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. Ben, explain a ADA or swing set or something. What is the difference in them, or what do they need
Well, the more permanent ones are where the poles are dug into the ground, which I would recommend, which are more solid, but it's actually a platform swing, and so they have a ramp So if you've ever seen a wheelchair, a ramp that comes down off a vehicle, the same thing, the ramp is there, and you drop the ramp and you're able to pull the wheelchair or wheel the wheelchair up there, and then the gate locks behind you, and it sits about that high off the ground, and, you know, people are able to.
The swing in their wheelchair?
They're able to swing in their
Oh, okay.
wheelchair.
Oh, okay,
There's
great.
a lot of adult facilities. Also, as I was doing my research, there are a lot of rehab facilities and adult facilities for older folks that basically are starting to use that as part of their therapeutic process.
Absolutely.
And so it's not only a part of just being a kid again and enjoying things as an adult, but it, you know, it also is great for the mental attitude in terms of the fact that they're able to do something that other kids or other adults are able to enjoy.
Oh, absolutely, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Ben, for coming here. I appreciate you talking about this. I know this is something that Fidel has brought up just recently, and we've talked about it with Mr. Hooper. And I know the Dennis Chavez Park, we just finished that one, and that was part of a capital outlay. Probably thank you to Mr. Zamora in the back. But to have that funding for the $375 that we have for capital outlay for 3 parks, and we spent $100 for Dennis Chavez. Do you know, is the funding for the remaining 2, can that be something that we utilize to increase, to split the remaining funding where we could get wheelchair access at both of those parks if we're looking at playground equipment around the $100,000 mark?
The 100,000 of the capital, and again, thank you for the 375. I really appreciate that. What it originally was, I believe, was there was a 75,000 that went in for Dennis Chavez. City pitched in another 25. It came out to 100. That was one capital outlay. We now have another capital outlay for the 375 for 3 playgrounds.
Oh.
So there's actually 3 playgrounds coming up. The ones that were the locations mentioned were Ryerson, Green Acres, and Potter. And as we've discussed, they're not necessarily just playgrounds. Now, my original plans are to, like, say, replace like a Ryerson, which is a small playground now, which we could possibly get for in the 75 range. Then you go to Green Acres and possibly replace one of the 2. There's 2 playgrounds there, a 2 to 5 and a 5 to 12. Possibly replace the 2 to 5, upgrade that. Now you're looking at in the 75 to 100 range. That would leave 250 or 150, 175 for Potter. That way you could do the larger, do the inclusive, because there's wheelchairs and then there's other inclusions, which may be different swing types for the other types of disabilities. They get into sensory playgrounds with the musical notes and things along these for different things. And that was kind of the goal. Like you say, it's not a good thing that those do cost more, but unfortunately it's a fact of life. And so you try to separate. To go back and put a wheelchair in every park would take up the whole thing just to put in one feature at every park. Hopefully we can make some destination parks like a Potter, like some of these others. I think Hillcrest will be in the future because there's 4 playgrounds at Potter right now. To combine those into something large that was really all the kids in town want to go to. Hey, Mom, let's drive across town. Let's not walk across the street this week. That sort of thing was kind of what our envision was. Now, we've had some other topics come up where we might have to do some shuffling on some of that money, but that's where y'all get to help.
Well, I think it's great, and as long as our sidewalks and so forth are accommodating for it to be able to be, you know, accessed by everybody, I think that's a great thing. We could also look at the New Mexico Economic Development Department's, their outdoor recreation grants, at maybe seeing if there's like a sub-grant of that we could apply for some of those wheelchair swings at some of our parks. That might be another outdoor resource that we could look into as well too.
Thank you, Lisa. Any other questions?
We're actually, Mr. Chairman, members of the Parks and Recreation Board, at last Thursday's commission meeting, I understand the commission voted to go ahead with an application for a Recreational Trails Plus grant, which is one of the 2 economic development grants for parks and recreation activities, and a component of that, well, one part of it is for master planning at Ned Haug, and the rest of it is to build an ADA accessible fishing platform at Ned Hauk as well.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Claire. Any other questions?
If I may, Mr. Chair, I'm going to switch over to, I've spoken as a private citizen, and I'd like to go on the official side now. And so I'm a field representative for Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez in Curry County, is in her district. And we have a grant researcher, so I would be more than happy to submit or to ask our grant researcher on the congressional side to also look into any kind of federal funds that may be available as well. So we'll be willing to offer those services as well. So I don't come just asking that you try to find it all. I'd love for you to, but we'll try to help you as much as we can.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
And
Thank
we'd
you.
be happy to work with field
You can work with
representatives.
Claire.
I'd be happy to
Kelsey.
accept anything you're willing to.
Thank you, Ben.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks a lot, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Next
Okay.
time, don't make it so cold when I have to come in and speak, okay?
Okay, updates on park projects. Russell Hooper.
Updates on park projects. Dennis Chavez was completed. Obviously, we know that one. Really, it's been a slow month. I mean, it has. I mean, we've been doing a lot of prepping for the spring. We're getting the restrooms all back opened up. Apologize. De-winterized, I guess would be another way to say them, because, yeah, of course, it's going to snow tonight, as we're starting our de-winterization project. We're starting the same thing with the irrigation, getting all that back up and going. I've noticed there's been a lot of practicing going on, and Jamal's been out there tearing up grass and, well, and little kids. Is the lights been working for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we got those going. Other than that, really what I wanted to do is I wanted to introduce our new recreation administrator. We've got Tari Curry. Introduced him the other night, but I wanted to introduce him here also. Like I said, he's bugging the heck out of me wanting to do some things already. So we're trying to figure out our process. You want to?
Come up and talk.
Yeah, and I'll step up too, just so I'm not making him just stand there on the first day. Didn't want to do that. But he comes to us out of Houston, a week and a day now. Which I also wanted to recognize, and I want to appreciate all those well wishes from y'all, because today is officially my 1 year. So,
Oh, wow.
365 days, so as Justin knows, I think I'm doing good so far. So, yeah. But no, I just, like I said, I wanted to introduce it. Didn't know if anybody had any questions, anything for the gentleman. He's ready. I got hammered my first day, so.
That's fine.
Well, Mr. Curry, anything you want to say?
Thanks, that makes it even harder.
But not, well, everything has been fine here. It's been a bit of adjustment for me since it is a smaller town, but everybody here has seemed really pleasant. Haven't been getting any kind of problems or anything out of everybody. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy you guys have me.
Well, we're happy to have you. Thanks for coming to Clovis.
Yeah, welcome to Clovis.
Welcome to Clovis.
And Tari, could you share your background experience, what you did at Houston and so on, your education?
Okay, so originally I am from South Carolina. I have a bachelor's degree in human performance and recreation. The human performance side is more so kinesiology, the study of body, movement, stuff like that, and the recreation side is recreation. So I have worked for the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, worked for the city of Orangeburg, and also for the city of Houston. I have a combined experience now 8 years of working in parks and recreation or in the private sector and also for the for-profit. I'm just looking forward to actually getting some program here. I see it's a lot of opportunities for things to be going on as far as different programs. It could be your STEM programs, it can be your athletics, it can be more so of your arts and craft. I see that is something that is a need here, and also things for children. I think we can do a lot better on those as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to bringing here, and I'm ready for the challenge.
Well, we're excited to have you. Thanks for coming.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Parks and Recreation Board, one of the things that I'm very excited about, everything to do with Mr. Curry and his coming to Clovis, but I'm very excited about the Summer Youth Program, which you guys have all been working with us on. And of course, that's going to kick off here at the beginning of June. And Tori has a lot of experience in summer youth programs. So that's great. We need that because the city of Clovis hasn't run a summer youth program for at least the last 20 years. So that's very good news.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Mr.
Welcome to Clovis.
Mr. Curry, where were you, where's your office at?
My office is at Roy Walker.
Roy Walker?
Yes.
Okay, I run one of the local Little Leagues, so I'll come and introduce myself and some of our board members, and we'd like to work with you on some programs.
So what leagues are you running? Like what sports?
Little League Baseball,
Little League Baseball?
yes, sir.
Okay. What's the age?
4 to 16,
4 to 16?
boys and girls,
We say 4 to 16?
yes, and we're stationed out at Potter Park, down on Martin.
One question.
Yes, sir.
How many participants are you currently have?
Over 250 right now,
Okay. Well, we'll talk.
yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamal.
And I guess to follow up on that, he will get into the details with you. And yeah, it's interesting to talk to someone that actually processes on the same page a lot of time. But no, I'd like to also, our shooting range is getting a lot closer. We've gotten all our trap doors in. We've cleaned the place up. They've gotten the sporting clay targets all set up. We're just doing some finalizations on that. As anyone knows that's done a project, it's the last 5% that kind of catches you up, all the little details. Where do the solar panels go for this? How do we mount them? Well, no one thought of it. So we're doing some scrambling at the last minute, but it is getting a lot closer. Been working with Bill Adams out there. Let's see. I don't have a date yet. I don't know if they're going to go soft opening to where they get a trial run and then do a grand opening, or kind of what they're doing. Just haven't figured that one out yet. But just as an update, they're getting a lot closer.
Thank you.
It's getting to be neat.
It's a good deal. We need it.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Mr. Hooper, I guess the other pool's already open. Is it scheduled to open on time in the splash pad?
They're both scheduled to open on time. We're having a meeting here in next week about a hiring fair for lifeguards.
I saw that.
We're gonna try to get that done in April, towards the end of April. I think we had a problem last year with everyone waited till school was over before they applied for a lifeguard position. And then, of course, it takes 2 weeks to get them all in and that sort of thing. We're trying to push that ahead a little bit.
But the facility itself is
The facility
up
itself,
and
we're good, I think, on. We're gonna do some power washing and do some cleaning up. The resurfacing project, which we all know needs to happen, I don't know if that's gonna happen by then. I'm still working, I was working with a pool contractor out of Albuquerque and that's who I pretty much worked with all year last year, and then I found out at the end of December that he no longer does that. And I didn't find out from him, I found out from someone else that works in his office, because he never would call me back. And so now I've started another process looking through the CES contracts and the purchasing. I've gotten some bids, but it's, with the shipping delays and with everything else and scheduling, I don't know if there's gonna be able to have anything done by Memorial Day. So that will become a decision of, do we limp through the summer, get it as clean as possible, limp through the summer and then schedule better, or do we shut it down for a week during the summer?
okay.
But again, until I get more information, I'm waiting on a second bid from another contractor, so at that point, then I can start bringing y'all numbers and saying, hey, here's what the proposals are.
Okay.
That's what I'm waiting.
Mr. Hooper, could I ask a question? I'm changing the subject, I'm sorry, but
Okay.
the additional openings at Ned Houck for razors, has that been accomplished?
No, that has not yet, and I dropped the ball.
Okay,
So I owe you one on that one.
all right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Hooper, talking about the shooting range. Okay, are all the traps and the skeet and traps and the sporting clay, or the traps and things there, or the
They are there.
bird throwers?
The company from Traps and Targets, I believe, was the group that set up the sporting clay. They were out last week, so those are all set up. The ones in the high house, low house, they're all set, and then I always get confused between trap and skeet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all of them are set. Then I've had my maintenance guys go out and we put doors on, make sure the hinges and all that are in the right spot. So I think everything is set on those.
Okay, and how about the certifications of them? Does that happen after everything gets to running? Do you have that? I mean, it's got to be certified
It's
for.
got to be certified, and that
ski.
will be up to the group that's running it, the Clovis Wing Associate, to
Okay.
contact them to get it certified,
Okay.
yes.
Because that's definitely got to be done, so
Yes.
I want to be sure that that happens. Okay.
Right,
Well,
and
good.
they'll be contacting them on that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hooper. Okay, Mr. Baca, do you want anything to say about the schools?
Actually, I do, Mr. Chairman and members of the Parks and Recs Committee. I'm really excited to hear that the city is looking at a summer program for our youth. I also want to inform the city of the fact that the Clovis Schools is going to put on a summer program. We're going to reinvent summer school. We're going to have a program, and we're looking at attracting between 600 to 1,000 children, grades K through 8th grade. We're going to offer a PE element, which is going to actually be sports, football, volleyball, tennis, a week of each of our sports programs where our coaches are going to be involved in working with youth. We're going to have a STEM program. We're going to have an arts element component in there, and then also a leadership component where we're going to actually talk about character and character development with the youngsters. So we're going to do a 5-week program, three weeks in June and 2 weeks in July after the 4th of July holiday break. We're in the planning phases of this. We're trying to put it together. The district is going to be hiring a coordinator to run the program this summer, as well as hire a big group of teachers and educators and anybody else who would like to apply. We're also going to have in this program the opportunity just to work with kids and to talk to them about becoming wildcats and what that is, and trying to bring back the spirit of the Wildcat Nation to Clovis, New Mexico. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that to you all. We will be meeting with the mayor and the city manager. I believe some of the members of the council are also going to be meeting with Mrs. Russ, the superintendent, and our committee in the schools. We'll definitely have a more solid plan by that time in regard to what we're planning to do this summer. So we're really excited about the opportunity to work with the children and the students of Clovis, New Mexico this summer. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Baca. Any questions for Mr. Baca? No?
That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Okay. Representative Zamora, do you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the board. I'm here today as a state representative that's curious about what's going on in the city of New Mexico, of Clovis. So I went in to City Hall today, and me and Claire and Mr. Chairman took a drive around Clovis and looked at a few issues. That's my part as a state representative, and as a state representative of District 63 and living in Clovis, well, it kind of, it's a little different for me here in Clovis because I want to be involved in the community as a resident of Clovis, but I don't want to micromanage the jobs of what you guys are doing, with all due respect to you. But it is my concerns to understand what's going on in Clovis and how I can help you from Santa Fe. And that's why I'm here today, is to learn what's going on in Clovis, what you guys are thinking, what you're proposing, what you're putting together, and how I can help you. And that's why I'm here at this meeting today.
Thank you.
To try to make a better representative.
Thank you,
If you
Mr.
have any
Zamora.
questions for me, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, members of the Parks and Recreation Board, I think you may recall, if you cast your minds back to last year, we had a very long conversation about bathrooms at city facilities and keeping the bathrooms open all the time for the public, and we made a decision you guys made a decision to go ahead and to leave the bathrooms open. Well, bathrooms get winterized because of the freezing of all those pipes and the way that we have our bathrooms here. So we don't use porta-johns. There's been a decision by the commission over the years to build permanent structures, which of course then have to be winterized. So the question, one of the things we were discussing today was, what are we going to do about these providing bathroom facilities during the winter when the bathrooms are closed? So that was one of the things that we were talking today about, and what we could do to maybe remedy that going forward.
Thank you, Claire. Any questions?
What is one of the ways to remedy that, other than porta potties in the wintertime?
The other answer is to heat everything,
Okay.
obviously. Yeah, and then the expense on that one. So it's, yes, that's the only other answer, is to make sure everything doesn't freeze.
Yeah.
I mean, are there, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Question. But can we reach out to other cities who might have already gone through the challenges of figuring out and see what's the most effective and efficient way to make it happen? I mean, I'm sure someone else has to have done it right before us that we can cheat off of.
Oh, yes, no problem with that. I say it's just, it's kind of like say the options are either to keep those from freezing, which would be heat, or to go with the portalets. And if there's a third option, I don't know it, but I'd be more than happy to reach out.
And you can, one of the things that we were talking about earlier on, I think in Dallas, they use the portalets, correct? But they fence them off so that they're not obtrusive to the public, or the aesthetics of the park. So that's something else that we can maybe think about in the future. But yes, we could certainly reach out. This is just a conversation that we started this afternoon, so be happy to reach out to some other communities and find out what they do to address this.
What I've noticed here about Clovis is that we have a lot of parks. A lot of cities don't have a lot of parks like we got. We have a lot of parks throughout the town. Like I've been to Artesia, they have a nice sports facility, and it's really nice. But it's only one big sports facility for the whole town. So that's another thing we have here, that we have a lot of parks that we have to take care of.
I do think we need to look into it, because I think having the bathrooms open 5 months out of the year and locked for the other months out of the year is, we do have wonderful days in February, and I do know the sports groups are already out practicing, and I enjoy walking even in the cold and in the wintertime. So, yeah, let's figure something out.
Yes.
Well, and I agree. In Clovis, half of our winter could be almost summerish days. So it is nice to have excess when we do have nice weather, and we want to make sure that people are outdoors. And thank you, Representative Zamora, for all of your support with being able to bring funding to our park projects, and also to helping to support the outdoor recreation, economic development department funding. Hopefully we'll be able to capture some of those funds here in Clovis as well too. Those are, after COVID, we've realized, outdoor services need to be a priority for our communities to keep people mentally healthy. Like Ben said, it's an important feature to have, and I think we have a lot of opportunity to continue to grow that here in Clovis and build on it and keep our community moving healthy, and mentally healthy and physically healthy. So thank you. We appreciate your support.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Zamora.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, the reason that we were discussing this is because I've brought it up to Justin Holwalt, City Manager, Mayor Mike Morris, and Claire. And it's because I have personally witnessed, I'm gonna call it a problem myself. I have taken my grandkids out to the softball complex on 14th and seen people walking up to the bathrooms and the bathrooms being locked. My grandson, he said he couldn't wait. So he peed, I told him, go around the tree and pee by the tree. A male has an advantage to those situations. Absolutely. I saw a lot of women, young ladies, walking up to the bathrooms being locked in the misery on their face. Yeah. We can do better in the city of Clovis It'll help promote our city. It'll help promote our youth. And if we need bathroom facilities at Potter Park, if we need them at other parks where the high school is gonna try to help us and carry these programs forward and keep these kids healthy and get them off the video games for a little bit and go out and do something that's good for them, it's a good way to promote the city and to keep the citizens and the kids healthy and happy. And I'm here as a state rep to help happen, and I'm here as a private citizen to help it happen. Because I live here in Clovis, and I've seen what's being done here in Clovis and what's happening with these restrooms and these parks. And thank you for your work you do, and I'm here to listen and learn some more and try to make a better state rep for everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Zamora.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, if I may, I'd be more than happy to do a grant request and looking into solar power, heated, and electrified bathing facilities. I think the green movement right now, in terms of Parks and Rec and moving towards solar powered energy, is something we really need to explore. And do something that's on top of everybody's mind right now.
Okay,
Hey, thank you.
thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Chair? Yes, sir. If I may, I have two gentlemen here today, Mr. Salazar and Mr. Zamora. A few years ago, we had a baseball tournament at Potter Park at Beecham Field, and we were talking and just kind of looking over everything, and we said, hey, we need some lights. And, you know, and Ben, Mr. Raymond Montragon, we called Mr. Zamora. We had a meeting, and he was super helpful, and I just want to take this time to thank Mr. Zamora, Mr. Salazar, Claire, Russell, everyone for all the support and help in getting those lights out at Potter Park on the second field. It makes a huge difference. It's beautiful out there. Like I said, I'd like to, anytime you guys see it, the lights on, I like to invite everyone out to come out, or just go out there and walking around. It's really good looking out there, and like I said, I'd like to thank those two gentlemen for their help and support.
Absolutely.
I have a question. What about the prairie dogs? How are they doing? Since
They're still around. We pushed them back off of our field for now, and the city guys, they've helped. There's a long line all the way down the east side of the park. They got some pretty big mounds, and they've been working at them, and we've all been kind of working at them just to keep them back. So I think we're doing pretty good.
okay, thank you. Thank you. Any other questions?
I had two
Okay.
other questions regarding different topic. Wanted to find out, did we ever get a contract with the racetrack over at Ned Hauk? And then also, I know in your commission meeting, there was a lot of concern talk about the Colonial Golf Course, and I know we had set up a tour of that. Is that something that we can help facilitate or be involved to help with any of those projects?
Regarding the golf course, the commission is going to tour the golf course, I think, next week,
Wednesday.
to have a look at it. Do you know what the status is of the Ned Hauk Motorsports?
The last I'd heard on the Nid-Out Motorsport was Justin and Jared were discussing different types of agreements. So right now, there's still nothing in place.
Okay. Well, if there's any way that our board can help participate in either of those projects, I think that we'd love to be able to be available for those to help.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Go
I'd like to introduce my newest friend, George Markinson. I was out at Cannon Friday for the First Assignment Airman class that I go to and talk with them, and George came up to me and asked me who to talk to about planting trees. So I told him that this would be a great place for him to come to, and he's already spoken with Russell, and I hope that we have something in place. And I was really excited when he started talking about millions of dollars worth of trees. So, George, I don't know if you want to get up and say anything to us, but I do appreciate you coming.
Not not prepared for this, and I'm missing my dinner. So look at this. This is City Council Chairman. This is cool. I've only ever seen this on TV. So, okay. So first off, I am on Cannon Air Force Base. I am an airman. I am not representing the Air Force as of yet. Hopefully soon I will. We'll come back to you guys from a different stance. Right now, we're trying to see, so as a brand new airman to Cannon Air Force Base, I've noticed that the biggest thing that a lot of people not complain about, but wish they had, was more greenery. Simple as that. Now, I'm from Boston. We got trees everywhere, all right? I know a lot of people coming from California, from Washington, from Florida. They're used to the greenery. One of the biggest things, psychological impacts they've had, is the lack of greenery. I'm going to say greenery a lot throughout this. So, that's not me. Oh, it is me. So if we can get the Air Force to back us up, we're all about maintaining mental health in the Air Force. They take that very seriously. So hopefully we can use that to our advantage in helping endorse this project. Now, right now, it's in its infancy. I said that without stuttering. I'm happy. So I can't really tell you what we have planned other than grandeur ideas, right? There was a man, let's go on the story real quick. Excuse me, I have all day, why not? There was a man in India by himself, was single-handedly able to plant literally thousands of acres of trees to the point where lions and tigers were coming into the forest. This was one man. So just imagine what we could do, one, as a city, but two, as a state. I'm glad you're here, sir, because I'm definitely going to be talking to you today. If we can get colleges around to offer us you've heard this a million times, Mr. Brand, so I'll say it again, but if we can get colleges around to support us with the logistics part, with sharing their wisdom on how to properly plant trees, especially in places where there isn't a lot of irrigation. If we can get the Air Force to help us out with their community outreach, with budgeting, with manpower, and we can get the council or the city, excuse me, behind us as well, whether it's with the land or with whatever red tape we have to cross. Again, this is this is just the beginning step. Right now, we're just crawling. So hopefully next month I can come back to you guys with something more. I just ask that we all maintain an open mind, and I'll definitely be back, I hope, and we can go from there. Any questions? Please say no. Any questions?
Questions? Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know how dry it is here?
I'm sorry?
You know how dry it is here?
Very dry.
Okay. We need to really consider, if we're going to get some trees, get some that are very drought tolerant.
Of course.
And I don't know anything about trees, but, we struggle with water. And so we'd sure need to take that in consideration.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So for me, that's kind of the beauty of being able to make this a community-wide kind of effort. I can go plant a tree, but like you're saying, and like Mr. Hooper. I got the H right. Mr. Hooper was saying the irrigation is the biggest part. Now, whether that's with funding, whether that's expanding, the watering trucks, I don't really know. For me, I'm just here. The logistics of it will be figured out, and we will. There are drought tolerant trees, of course. Now, what's native, what's able to support us. Big scheme. Imagine how instead of driving 2.5 hours to Santa Fe or 2 hours to Santa Fe or going wherever, right, where you can actually see trees and see some greenery, imagine Clovis is that spot. All of a sudden, people from other parts of New Mexico are coming here because this is the closest and this is the most Washington-like, right, most Santa Fe-like place in the area. How's that going to help with economy and so on? I don't know. Like, you guys, the city budget, if y'all want to start selling tickets to the park, I don't know how you guys can do that. That's your job. My job is to give you the idea, and this is my idea. I'm passionate about it, and hopefully we can give it a solid effort.
Well, thank
a
you.
good
I think
idea.
we're
Thank you.
excited for your
Thank you.
ideas. I
Thank you,
think
ma'am.
that's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
I would
you.
just like to let you know, my name is Lisa. I'm going to give you my card stay after. So the New Mexico, well, actually, the National Historic Preservation works under the National Parks Department, and they have some. I'm trying to remember, arborists that work in the state of New Mexico that are also trying to push more planting in the state of New Mexico and are looking to do it in more urban areas, even in smaller communities. I know we're not urban, but like inside of our communities. So there are some different opportunities that are out there, and I'd love to give you my card and share a contact that I have. I can get you that contact information tomorrow,
Would appreciate
and
it.
it'll could just help explore that possibility a little bit further.
Yes, ma'am. I'd appreciate that. And you said he was part of the National Historic.
It's part of National Historic Preservation. It also runs with it falls underneath the National Parks Department.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Sir?
I was gonna say.
I hear you talking about green spaces, more advertisement from our Little League. We're 7 minutes down the street, straight shot from Cannon Air Force Base, on the corner of Martin Luther King and 7th. We have a green space. We've been working on it. We have, besides Hillcrest Park, we probably have the most trees in the town. So I say you're definitely welcome. Clovis Western Little League, mental health, everything you're looking for. So.
Yes, sir. And that's what we are excited about the most is, again, trying to make it as inclusive as possible. It's one thing to plant a tree, it's another thing to get someone excited about planting a tree. We can get the community to kind of change their perception and their importance onto how honestly critical it is. Whether we're looking at a spiritual aspect, right, or we're looking at it from logistically, right, for the mental health aspect, that's very important. And I think that's like the first step to a lot more. So, but I will pass by, check it out as soon as I eat. No. All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Joyce, have you got anything on the Pappy Museum?
Well, I really was thinking about talking to Mrs. Zamora. I do know that we do have, it was approved for Curry County received the money for $200,000 for our museum, for upgrades in the museum. And at our meeting last week with the Historical Foundation, they let us know about that, and they're saying Mr. Ben Roberts from the county, he said that hopefully in May or June we can start signing papers to get into the building, because they were thinking that we may be able to get into the building out at the fairgrounds. And so we appreciate that $200,000, because they said we can use it for like cases to display things and, remodeling the building. And so we're really excited about having a museum that's a quality museum in Clovis. I mean, we do have the little one on Grand, but that's kind of small, our rock and roll museum. So I'm very, very excited. We are about someday having a really nice museum here in Clovis. So, thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Anything else? Claire?
So on the subject of trees, we do have Arbor Day coming up, and if you'd like to come and help plant trees on April the 29th. Arbor Day is actually on April the 30th this year, but we'll do it on the 29th, which will be a Friday.
Okay.
A location to be determined, but just if you could get that in your diaries. And then the cleanup is May the 7th, starting at 8 o'clock at 500 Sycamore. And of course, then we also have the citywide Easter egg hunt at Guy Leader, starting at 9 a.m. on April the 16th, which is a Saturday. And that's for children ages.
And I was going to say,
Infant
Claire,
to
when
11.
you get that Easter egg hunt, have them open the bathrooms, because I know they're not open.
We'll make sure we will make sure that the bathrooms are open. And then we also have someone sitting in the back of the room here this evening who you may not have seen before. But her name is Ruth Ann Kelly. Ruth Ann is with our emergency management department, and she's also a grants coordinator who works for me. on that, and Ruth Ann is writing the pickleball tennis grant application. So she's here this evening to sort of learning about the Parks Board and what you all do. So just FYI. And then we met this morning regarding the New Mexico Clean and Beautiful grant, which was it this afternoon? I don't remember. Oh, it was this afternoon, wasn't it? It was today. And so that's going. We're putting together application for all the usual things for the cleanups, and then we're also looking for power washer for Parks and Recreation to deal with graffiti, and then various other activities throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Claire.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
one other thing that I want to mention, and it's kind of, it's with, go with the Parks and Recreation, but also Public Works. A lot of little ladies have been on my case about when they leave the wellness center and they try to get on 7th Street, their little heads won't bobble up high enough that they can see over the fence and the trees. Look at that, Russell, and see if there's something we could do for it, because I'm afraid there's going to be a terrible wreck there with these little ladies. My wife's one of them, and she drives a pretty good-sized Denali SUV, and it doesn't have much problem, but these ladies are in a little car, and I drove through there, and it's hard to see. That fence could be brought kind of close to that tree, and maybe, I don't know if you can lower that, take a little bit of work, but lower that drive going into that wellness center to where you would be, could maybe see better. I don't know. See what you think about that, because they're really concerned about the safety of getting out of the wellness center, because it's difficult.
And I agree with that. The way it slopes down and the way the fence all comes together, yeah, there's.
So maybe you could talk to the Public Works and you guys work together. You guys get along, don't you? Okay.
Yeah, no, we do. And that may be more of the fence itself than the ramp
Yeah.
and the cement, so that.
Yeah, the fence interferes quite a bit, and if you could bring it in, that would help some, but I'm sure that somebody could figure out
Something to increase
something to make
visibility.
it more safe. So if you could do that, appreciate it. So Dale and I's not gonna be here much longer, so.
I was gonna say, it's Commissioner Elliott and myself's last meeting tonight. So it's been an honor to serve with you guys, and thank you for what you've done for the city of Clovis.
Absolutely.
And
And we appreciate you, Representative Zamora. Thank you so much for all you do in Santa Fe and here and everywhere. You're a bright light, and we thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
I don't have that number, but not as many as should be. Due to.
Okay.
A lot of things, yes.
Okay.
We got screwdrivers. That's the hard part.
Okay, for the good of the order.
And I didn't have anything else, Mr. Chairman, members of the Parks and Recreation Board. I know, just to say, it's sort of a sad day today. 12 years, Commissioner,
12
we've been
years.
working together on this Parks and Recreation Board. Commissioner Elliott, is it 12 years for you too? I think it is, isn't it? Yes.
Was it 8 years? That you
8
said?
years?
8 years?
8 years.
And I
Yeah.
served 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've achieved a great deal
Could've-
over those years.
could've-
Congratulations and thank you to both of you.
Well, we've
I'm
seen a
gonna-
lot of good, and we've seen a lot of tragedy, with some things going on, but it's been great working with all these folks and all you guys. We got a bunch of new commissioners, got some young commissioners. I tell you what, we get one more that's a whole lot younger than I am, so. But it's good.
So we're gonna go to the city tomorrow, see how much retirement we're gonna get, since it's our last board meeting here.
We
From the
can work on
parks, from the parks. Talk to Mr. Russell Cooper. Anyway, anything else?
I just want to thank Jamal for all he does for these kids in the Little League. That is above and beyond. Thank you so much for that. Really for them.
Yeah, thank the whole board. I think you guys do an
Yeah,
awesome job.
everybody. It's been good.
So thank you.
And just for the board's information, we will be having a reception to recognise the departing commissioners on April the 6th, beginning at 3:30 here in the North Annex. 7th, did I say the wrong day? The 7th.
What time?
Beginning at 3:30.
Okay, it's the 6th. I thought it was the 7th.
The Victoria says it's the Thursday the 6th.
Thursday the
7th.
6th.
Which day?
It's a Thursday.
One more time.
It's the commission meeting day,
Seventh?
which is the 7th.
Okay.
I believe it is.
So if anybody would like to join us, then that'd be great.
All right.
So thank you, everybody. Anything
Okay.
else? If not, next meeting date and time, 5:30 PM, Monday, April the 18th. And I guess you'll have a new chairman next time.
There has to be an election of a new chairman.
Fidel?
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you,
both.
guys.
And Fidel, you and I can be sitting out there where Martin. and,
Yeah, we
you
can
know,
address
asking
this.
to say, "Hey, guys,
We can start asking questions. How come you guys don't?
okay.